Okay, so we've nearly completed the first level. The only thing that we haven't done on the actual game is we haven't put a maze for our hero to work around. So I'm just going to create a simple little wall first. So I'm going to click resources, create sprite, and I'm just going to call this wall. And you can edit the sprite within there like we did with a coin. So I'm going to double click on there, zoom in a bit. I'm going to create a black line from the top left down to the bottom right. That is the line tool. From there down to the bottom, and a black line from the top right down to the bottom left. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to use a fill bucket tool, and I'm going to use a light pink, and then a slightly darker pink, and then a darker pink after that, so it looks as if it's a wall looking down from above. Click the tick, click the tick again. If we click transparent, you're not going to see the lines across there, so uncheck the transparent and click OK. Last thing we have to do to create the object: resources, create object, wall, make sure the sprite wall is assigned, and then solid. The wall doesn't do anything. In here now I can put a wall, and I can put a wall around the outside. To make it easier, if you keep your finger on shift, you can drag a wall right the way around the outside. Now there's something I haven't mentioned before. If you make a mistake and you want to take objects off, you right click to take objects off, you left click to add objects, and right click to take them off. You can see there I've just put object on top of another one, and it won't allow you to do that, so it has replaced the object worm that was already there. I'm going to just try to create a really simple maze for the first level, just as an example. We can make the worms move around the room and make them bounce off the actual walls that we put in there now. I'm going to make sure there's enough space that my hero can move around. I don't want to try to make it too easy, and again I'm not trying to make it too difficult either. Okay, so I think that, so if I put a line of bricks down there, and right click there, sorry, there, I think that will be sufficient. Okay, so now for our worm to move around and not pass through that, we have to do a little bit more programming. So I'm going to click on the hero, click add event, collision with the wall, and simply bounce off. Make sure you select precisely. So now it's not going to pass through the wall, and I click OK. Now for the worm we can do the same. So I can click add event, collision with the wall, and get that to bounce off. So now these will start to bounce around the screen rather than pass through it. So I'll click precisely and OK. Now this is going to make the game incredibly difficult, because once it bounces off, then your worms could actually go anywhere. You might have to take more of your enemies off, or to increase the difficulty, add more of the enemies on. Okay, I'm going to now create a splash screen, so I'm going to save that and then click on the cross underneath the red cross just to close that room, because I'm going to create a splash screen that I need to put on at the start, because underneath here it says you must design a splash screen to be displayed at the beginning. It must contain the name of the school, Kiddywinks, and your hero and your enemy. Also must edit the game information. Okay, so I'm going to click on start, and in fact I'm going to click onto my folder, and on my folder Pep Guardiola, I'm going to click on any one of the backgrounds it says. I like the kitchen one, so I'm going to right click, open with, and I'm going to open with paint. Okay, so I've got my room open. I'm going to go back on my folder. I've got Pep front, right click, open with, paint. Now you can open paint a number of times. So I've got paint open twice already. I'm going to select my hero. So use the select tool, click select, copy, click in this one, and click paste. Now to get rid of the white around the outside, I select and transparent selection. The only problem is it'll take around the white off its eyes. So I'm going to move them down a bit and make sure I move them somewhere where there's a light colour in the background. If I put them down at the bottom there, you're not going to see his arms, and then you're going to see his eyes, or his eyes are black and you can see his arms. So I'm going to put mine round about here, big hero, and I make him bigger if I want, and put him there. Make sure that, try to get two colours, because then I can fill it with the background colour. Right click for the background colour, left click for the foreground colour when you use that tool. I need to put the enemy on as well, so I think that's the best enemy to put on. Right click, open with Microsoft Paint, do the same, copy, so select it, copy, click onto my new one and paste. There's my worm there. I'm going to resize it so it's smaller. Okay, a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to put some text on. So I'm going to put the text on here, and I'm going to put the text Kitty Winks, and then the name of the game. So I put Kitty Winks there, and then click off it, and then click on the text tool again, and the name of the game, Pepper Guardiola, Pepper, I'm just going to call it Pepper G. Now if I click opaque, it will put whatever the background colour is there. I can change the background colour to whatever I want. I'm going to change it to green. Oh sorry, this is a different program. Okay, I'm going to change the text colour to green, sorry. So the text colour is green. I like that. I'm going to make that slightly smaller, and then I can move it to the bottom right. So I've got Kitty Winks School and then Pepper G. Now if I save it now, it's going to save it as a level 2 background, but if I click file and then save as, I'm going to save this as a splash screen. A splash screen is something that appears when a game is first loading. So I've got my splash screen there. I can close it. I'm going to close that folder. I'm going to close that and close my other paint. Okay, so inside of here as well, I can go to the global game settings. If I click on the global game settings, I can then change it to one, we have to start in full screen mode, and then loading here, we can change the image. Click show your own image while loading, click change image, and there I should have in there my splash screen. There's my splash screen started. If I want to change this icon, I click change icon, and inside of your folders, or the first Bachata folder, there should be a folder right at the top called Gamemaker. Inside there where it says various, we have a number of different icons that you can put on. Because I'm collecting coins, I'm going to click that icon, and that would be the icon of my game. So I'm going to click OK, I'm going to click save, and then I'm going to test it. Shortly after this, I'm going to show you how to add some music and add some sounds. Everything that we've done in level 1, you can do for level 2. So I move around. If one of them gets stuck, you're going to have to change your programming so it doesn't. Okay then, so I've lost 1 life. 2, don't touch me. Okay, so that seems to work fine. The only problem I'm going to have is trying to get those coins where the worms are stuck right next to it. I think I've got 1 more life, and then that is no. Okay, I'm dead. I'm going to push escape to go out of it. Back to effects. So when I've got well, at the top here, resources, I'm going to create sound, and I'm going to load the sound, and again inside of the Gamemaker folder that I put inside of the secondary. So secondary, first Bachata, Gamemaker, you've got sounds there. You can select any one of those sounds. It even allows you to have a test. I'm going to click the boink one, and I click it, and I should hear boink. I'm going to change the name as soon as it's loaded, because because the sound files are quite big. Okay, and now I'm going to call this just boink, and then okay, so that's saved. So I'm going to click now onto my hero, and then when he collides with the coin, or with the worm, sorry, I'm going to then play a sound, and the play a sound one is here in the sound, play sound, and then I've got boink. Don't put it loop, because if you put a loop it's going to go straight through the game. Okay, and then click OK again. Instead of putting the splash screen, we can have a start menu, a start game. So I'm going to click resources, create room. Resources, create room. I'm going to click then resources, create background, and load background, and I'm going to select our splash screen again. I'm going to click here and put start screen. Click OK, and I'm going to put a button on here. So on my backgrounds here, I'm going to select start screen. Make sure I stretch it, and I'm going to create a start button. So resources, create sprite, start, edit sprite. I'm going to make it okay. I want to make it just so it says start. So I'm going to zoom in. I don't think this is wide enough, so I'm going to transform it to stretch it to double the width. Now if I put 200 there, it changes to underneath because the aspect ratio is locked. So I'm unchecking aspect ratio and then change that to 100. Okay. So my new size would be like that. I'm going to click on the text tool, and inside of there, this is going to be pink. So I'm going to put start. Click OK, and there's my start there. I can then move it around, and then click on the tick, click OK again, click OK, and then I'm going to create a resource, create an object. Believe it or not, I'm going to call this start. Make sure I put the start button, make sure it's solid. OK, there's my start button. I'm going to put my start button there. Obviously your start button should be a lot bigger than that. If you're in the game, you think, okay, then I've created it, it's not big enough, I'm going to have to do it again. You don't, because if you double click on the sprite, you can edit the sprite, and then you can zoom in, and then you can make the differences from here. I think we could transform it and then resize the canvas, and instead of 100 I'm going to change it to 300, and we have to keep the aspect ratio. Click OK. The only thing now is, if I zoom out, you'll see that the start is quite small. You can easily get rid of that. If I select that using the select tool, we can move this around, but because our background color is that color, it's going to change. But what I can do is click on the fill and then fill everything pink. I can then right click and fill everything white again, and now put the text on and type the words start. Okay, I suggest when we do this that you try to do it so that you're going to draw the text instead. Okay,